if you're killed by a physician who was operating on you drunk. The most your family could recover is $500,000. And actually only $100,000 of that comes from the doctor's insurance. You can easily spend $100,000 before you get to court. The law was made to protect doctors and hospitals and was not written for the protection of patients. This law came into effect in 1975. A lot of the time it's literally a cover-up of the cases that we take. I would say it's in the 80s. If you don't know what you're doing, you can make a mistake that can have your case dismissed forever. In this video, I'm going to share with you the most valuable lessons I've learned on my journey as a medical malpractice lawyer. And stay tuned till the end, because I promise to reveal the single most important piece of advice that could really make all the difference if you ever find yourself or a loved one in a medical malpractice case. I've learned many crucial lessons in my journey as a medical malpractice attorney, but one of the ones, and I'll tell you, it's a little shocking, but it's very, very frequent and very true. I had a case in which, let's just say that the physician who was responsible for the medical records and had total access to those medical records went back and changed those medical records. That is horrifying to hear, and it's horrifying as an attorney to deal with, because what we prove our cases on is the medical record. If it's not in the medical record, it never happened. And if it's in the medical record, assumed that it did happen. But actually, and one of the lessons I've learned is get the metadata, because more often than not, you'll find at some point during care and treatment that your medical record may have been altered. As I sit here right now, I can't think of a single case that went to trial, okay? And that's separate, because we do have cases that settle outside of court, but I can't think of a single case that I have tried in a court of law in which there was not evidence hidden from my client or hidden from me as a lawyer. People should know that medical negligence happens more often than you think. It's the third leading cause of death in the United States. As it happens, doctors are humans. Hospitals are made up of administrators that are humans. Doctors tend to mess up at exactly the same rate of other humans because they are human. Get your medical records. The faster that you're able to get your medical records, the less time that a hospital or healthcare provider has to make any new notes, edits, revisions, whatever you'd like to call them. So the faster you get your records, the better. Secondarily, ask questions of your medical care providers and ask questions of those who could give you a second opinion. Don't hesitate to find out as much information as you can. It's hard sometimes to stand up to a doctor or an institution or ask for a review or ask for a second opinion, but more often than not, your gut instinct is right. And we find with our clients, the ones that are successful, the ones that we are able to help, it's because they didn't stop when someone told them no. They continued and they kept asking for answers. If you find yourself in this situation, follow your instincts, listen to your gut, and get in touch with someone who can help. And lastly, find someone who specializes in medical malpractice. But I don't mean a personal injury attorney that you know and has helped you before in a car accident. I mean someone who specializes in medical malpractice. But contact one of them quickly and they'll help you. From the malpractice itself, you have 1 year. And that's the shortest time frame in the country. It's a very unforgiving time frame in our state. And within that 1 year, you really need to speak to a medical malpractice attorney. Due to the harshness of the laws, there are not very many of us that do it. However, the ones that do dedicate their practice to it know what they're doing. What happens often when medical negligence occurs, because it's usually not an expected outcome of a procedure or of a medication or any number of scenarios. It's not the expected outcome. They do hold a sentinel event conference, but they put the doctors themselves or their supporting staff as the investigators into what happened. Also, the investigation itself, the sentinel event, the memorialization of that or the documentation of it is undiscoverable in medical malpractice. So I hate to say it, but lot of the time it's literally what we would refer to in regular parlance as a cover-up. If I had to put a percentage on it, now we have to keep in mind that all I see all day is potential malpractice cases. So I see the worst of the worst. But of the cases that we take, I would say it's in the 80s. So say you go in with a broken leg and you come out dead. That's not expected, that's not normal. And a hospital has a duty or an obligation to investigate what exactly happened to cause that death. In Louisiana, let's say in this scenario, you've died, but your family would like to understand what happened also. And they would like to find out the results of that investigation into this sentinel event. One of the most devastating pieces of our law is a statute known as the peer review statute. It prohibits family members or their counsel from ever getting any of that information, while also, under the Louisiana Medical Malpractice Statute, asking the plaintiff to carry the burden to prove what happened. It's a terrible part of the law that we're not allowed to have it, and it's not fair. It's your medical history that they're reviewing. If you're the victim in this scenario, it can really hinder a medical malpractice case because we're not privy to information that has ever passed through the hands of one of those investigative committees, and it's a problem. And as of right now, if nothing changes, medical malpractice will cease to be a cause of action because it will be impossible for anyone to put on a case, even in the most devastating circumstances, in which a victim can actually be compensated for what's happened to them. And the legislature is aware of this, the government's aware of it, and they're doing nothing to change that. You're meeting me today on one of these videos, but you're going to meet some other board members of the Patient Rights Advocacy Forum, and they are veterans that have been through the ringer. They've seen this awful law in action. And one of the reasons I get most often as to why someone would want to pursue a medical malpractice action. Why sue a hospital? Why sue a doctor? These are the people we rely on to save our lives. Why do it? And the answer is to stop it from happening to someone else. And that's what PRAF is all about. Our members have already been through it. They've already been hurt by this law, but they want to help. PRAF wants to help, and we need you to help so that it doesn't happen to someone you love or to you. I get asked a lot about how people can help. How can they affect change? And there's many ways. There's an ugly one that I've got to get up right up front, and it's donating money. Because to change laws, it takes money. And so I'm just going to say that one right up front. But there's other things you can do. If you can't donate, that doesn't mean you can't help. You can write letters. You can make calls to your representatives and let them know that this is an important part of being a citizen of Louisiana. And without this change, our state is going to continue to be one of the worst in the country. Thank you for watching this video. It's obviously something that's very important to me, and I hope it becomes something that's important to you.